So I had one of my Instagram followers ask me about how I approach eight finger tapping, and honestly, it's one of the most difficult things, probably the most difficult thing that I've ever learned to do on the guitar. Um, but I will show you a great exercise that I feel can at least start the process of getting your fingers of both hands more independent and able to kind of do the motions that you're going to need to utilize that technique. So, um, the first things I do is this is an exercise. I think I may have posted it on my timeline in the past, and it's basically it involves anchoring your hand on the high E string. And I don't know if you can see these fingers, but I just have one per fret, and I have them all anchored to the high E string. Um, and the goal is they're not supposed to move, and you're supposed to do hammer-ons on the B string with each finger while keeping the other ones down. And what you'll realize is that some of your fingers really, really want to move together. It's true with the second and third. It's true with the third and fourth. Um, they really want to move together as one unit. They don't like being separated. So this exercise will help your fingers sort of adjust to moving on their own without depending on each other, and it will give you, hopefully, over time, more independence. It's also a great warm up. So basically, I'm taking this exercise, which is just this type of thing, which is actually harder than it looks. And then, so the basic idea is you can take this and turn this into an eight finger tapping exercise simply by also anchoring your right hand fingers on the G string and doing a similar thing, but alternating them with your left hand. So you could do like just your first finger, maybe, if you wanted to. And then you could do your second finger. And obviously, if you're not adept at this, which you probably will not be at first, you go very slowly, as slow as you need to get a clear, tone. Because accuracy is more important at first than speed. If you try to go too fast, it's just probably going to sound like shit. And then your third finger, which is just a useless piece of shit most of the time, because it's so codependent on the fourth and second fingers to move, that you might, for me, it might even be harder than the pinky, but it's pretty awful. So you're gonna do, and you gotta make sure that you're getting a good clear tone on both hands when you do this. If you can't, then like I said, I don't care how slow. If you have to go literally like that, then do it. As long as it's clear. Okay, then the pinky, right? Which is also pretty rough. Even for me, and I've been doing this for a long time. I should speed it up, Right? And the string noise there. So, and eventually, you'll realize that even though this still may never be easy, you'll at least notice that you will get better at your finger independence, and then eventually you can start working more on the technique, applying it to scales or just whatever you want to do. So, and basically, let me add just one little fact about this technique is there's basically two parts to doing tapping, right? There's the initial hammer on of your finger, just this, and the other half is almost like it's the pull-off part, which is almost like you're finger picking, right? So if you're finger picking like acoustic, you'd be doing this type of thing, right? Or playing bass. So basically what you need to do to get this proper is you need to be good at both both aspects. So you can also further separate and isolate these two different aspects and practice them individually. And I can just mute all the strings for this, and you can just do like, just practice the tap part itself first. If you want to, you can even get more meticulous and use a metronome, something I don't often, but you can. It's not a bad idea. And then similar like this. Right? Third finger. Pinky. Hard. So it's tough. Okay, and then, like I said, similarly, you can even, it doesn't matter where you even play, you could just do it here. Do that motion of plucking the string. You can even have some fun if you wanted to use this hand to make some music. Just to make it a little less miserable. Second finger. And you notice that I prefer when I'm doing 8-finger tapping. Like with normal tapping, I don't really care whether I push down or pull up, but with the 8-finger tapping, I feel it's much easier to use the motion like toward my body. Just because that's what I would do if I was playing fingerstyle. I mean, it just makes sense to me. So second finger. And if you hear the tap note come out at the same time, that's fine. It doesn't matter. Or you could just take it down to the bass of the string and do it here. But keep in mind, you're not going to have as much freedom of movement when you're up here. So it may be better just to practice it up here. Keep in mind, you're doing a plucking motion here. You're not really trying to do the tapping motion. But even if you can get the tap fret, that's good, though, because it means you're doing the tapping properly, right? Third finger, same thing. And like I said, this is like the other parts. You're going to find these last two fingers are much harder, and for most people, they're much harder for most people to deal with. And then pinky, which is horribly hard to do. Even for me, it's a nightmare, right? And then just you put the two together, so you got tap down, pull off, right? And then eventually, when you feel comfortable with that, it's like any other thing. I'm a firm believer in permutations, which if you've been following me for a while, I have the picking permutations series, which is basically practicing a bunch of different picking combinations of notes per string, so that whatever you encounter, you'll be able to play through it, hopefully. So the same thing here applies. I mean, once you work on your isolation, I suggest doing this finger independence exercise every single day. It's a great warm-up for one, if you're playing a gig or if you're just practicing. It's a good way to get both of your fingers warmed up. But eventually, like I said, you want independence with all these fingers. You don't want them to feel like they have to go together. So what you can do is this, you don't really you can still anchor your hand. It makes it harder, but then you can start, doing combinations. You can do the first and second fingers, maybe. Right? Right? First and third. First and fourth. second and first. Second and third. You don't have to limit yourselves to consecutive frets. For instance, I was playing 17 and 18th fret, you could do 17th and 19th fret. Right? With the second and third fingers. Okay, second and fourth fingers, same thing. You can stretch it out if you want to and play multiple frets. Start with a 2 fret spread here. A little more sloppy because it's harder for me to do with the pinky involved. But like I said, don't limit yourself to the 2 frets either. You could do 3 frets, 4 frets, and even 5 if you can stretch far enough. It gets harder and harder, but yeah, there's 6 frets there. It's hard for me. So I'm not going to go through all the rest, but you get the idea. Then you'd have 3-1, 3-2, 3-4. 3-4 is very tough. Anything with just these last two is incredibly difficult. 4-1, 4-2, right? 4-3. And let me iterate that you should always practice these on all of the string sets that you can. So, if you're doing the anchor exercise, move it down to the G string. So you're going to anchor on the B with this hand and on the D with this one. Right? Same thing. Similarly, you can move down another string. Got the A string on the right hand and the G string anchor on the left hand. Yep. So all the strings basically, and there's a lot more I can talk about with this. But I just wanted to give people a really good starting point. If you're a guitar player that wants to get into the 8-finger tapping thing, I'm giving you a good starting point to get your fingers more where they should be in terms of being prepared to do that technique over time. Obviously there's far more to it. It's taken me years and years to master the technique. It's incredibly difficult. It's one of the hardest things I've ever done on guitar, if not the hardest. So, eventually the eventual goal is to build play whatever you want to. So I hope that helped you. Give me a follow on Instagram or YouTube if you want to do that. It's Jason Seebeck Guitars. Just search for that term on YouTube. Thanks for watching. Let me know if this helped you and if you have any questions. See you, everybody.